Matt Powell is a creationist with some very strong views. He also keeps a giant inflatable banana in his back garden which he calls Dr. Peel. One of those statements is not entirely correct. He has some extremely strong views, and this week they're about Bill Nye. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today's video, a quick thank you to the sponsors today, Surfshark VPN. Surfshark is a VPN service that makes online privacy protection easy and attainable, encrypting all internet traffic sent to and from your devices and ensuring your IP address remains hidden to make sure no one can see what you do online. On top of that, they block ads, trackers, malwares and phishing attempts, and unlike other VPN services, you can use it on as many devices as you want simultaneously. Now, I personally spend as much time online as I do sleeping. That's 6 to 8 hours per day. The internet knows a hell of a lot about us, and it's why we should care about our online data. Now, have you ever seen an ad or banner which brought to mind that someone's listening in on your conversations or reading your mind? Well, that is how your online data is being used against you. Now, you can use Surfshark to become resistant to this sort of targeted advertising. Secure your privacy with Surfshark. Click the link in the description for 4 months extra free. Right, on with today's video, which, as I said earlier, was about Matt Powell. Now, he's reacting to Bill Nye's lies, apparently. Well, he says lies, but it's just scientific information, really. Let's hear what he has to say, shall we? Away we go.
Once in a while, I get people that claim they don't believe in evolution. And my response generally is, well, why not? Really, why not?
Because evolution asserts that we all descended from fish. There is no evidence to support such a claim.
Well, there is actually a lot of evidence. Here's just one piece. Now, DNA sequence comparisons shows that the DNA sequence that controls the formation of human synovial joints is also present in primitive fish. The very fact that there are fish does not debunk evolution, Matt.
We descended from Adam and Eve, 2 humans, not fish. We've even discovered remains of humans that existed thousands of years ago, and we've found that they were much more fit than humans are today.
I don't think there's very good evidence to suggest precisely that, but humans from that era tended to have denser bones, suggesting that they ran much more often and for longer. Their lifestyles would have been much more different to modern humans.
What that means is that we are devolving. We started out with a good set of genetics at the beginning, and we have degraded since.
Physically, perhaps. Intellectually, definitely not. We are smarter for sure.
Your world just becomes fantastically complicated when you don't believe in evolution.
What part of believing that we descended from apes makes our worldview less complicated?
Well, where do you want me to start, Matt? Descending from apes is a natural process, as opposed to a supernatural one. We've got common ancestry versus diversity for no reason, physical fossil evidence rather than a story. I could go on.
Teaching young ones that they evolved from primates will cause confusion in their lives. It makes certain people feel subhuman when you tell them that they're nothing more than an evolved rat. But telling a child that God loves them and that they were created in His image will help them to thrive and to succeed in life.
Yeah, the real world evidence for that doesn't really match with what you're saying here, Matt, does it?
Alright, so now he's going to try to give us some evidence for evolution. And so he's going to rattle off a few things that he considers to be facts. Let's check them out. Let's debunk them one at a time.
Here are these ancient dinosaur bones or fossils.
Okay, so right off the bat, he mentions dinosaurs. Well, dinosaur fossils actually show us that they died recently.
Fossils take typically around 10,000 years to form. Now that's longer than you believe for the Earth to have existed, isn't it, Matt?
Because we find dinosaur blood cells that could not have lasted for millions of years. If you put some material that's biodegradable inside of an airtight jar, and then put that airtight jar in another airtight jar and in another airtight jar, it doesn't matter how many times you seal something that's bioorganic. It's still going to degrade, it's still going to deteriorate. That's what we know for a fact. Those are laws of science.
Now, I've talked about this in a video before, but essentially the iron in the dinosaur's body prevented that tissue from decaying. In a very rare occurrence indeed. This does not debunk deep time, Matt.
We find dinosaur blood cells, we find nerve cells, we find DNA from dinosaurs, histones, keratin, skin pigments. The list goes on and on. In fact, there are 16 types of bioorganic materials that are found in dinosaur bones. They died out recently. Finding bioorganic materials in their graves suggests that they died in the recent past, not in the distant past.
But you're still neglecting the actual time fossilization takes, aren't you? You bring up all the bioorganic stuff, but the fact remains, they are still fossils.
Here is radioactivity.
So what he's referring to here is radiometric rock dating. And what I find interesting is we've never been able to accurately date a rock that we know the age of.
Are you sure about that, Matt? Because I've seen a lot of evidence that suggests otherwise.
For example, we've seen volcanoes erupt. We've seen the lava flow down the side of these mountains. The lava then turns into igneous rock. Those rocks are young, but what I find interesting is that when you send in rocks to be radiometrically tested to see how old they are, these labs will send back results indicating that these rocks formed millions of years ago. It's ludicrous. Radiometric isotopes can be created in a lab, and the next day they date as millions of years old.
Yes, because radiogenic argon already existed in that lava before the igneous rocks formed. Now that's going to give false readings, isn't it? The thing is, you have to use the correct radiometric dating method to get the correct results. It's a learning process, like anything.
So is radiometric dating reliable? Can it be used to date the age of the Earth? Think about that. The radiometric isotopes that we find in rocks supposedly indicate how old the rocks are. Well, if you're creating brand new ones, and they're dating as millions of years old, the following day, just after you created them, is it a rational assumption to make that rocks that contain these same isotopes can be dated accurately using radiometric dating processes? Absolutely not. It has a 0% success rate. Like I said, rocks of known age that we know the ages of have never been accurately dated by radiometric dating processes, and that's a fact.
Well, it's not. The eruption from the lava of Mauna Loa in Hawaii in 1950 provides an exact historical record, as the eruption date is well documented. Now, geologists then used the potassium-argon radiometric dating method on those rocks to see if the results accurately reflected the rock's age. And when potassium-argon radiometric dating was used on those rocks, the measured age actually matched the eruption date, providing strong validation for the method's reliability.
I've got a lot of sources that can back that up as well.
Which are conveniently missing in this video.
Here are distant stars that are just like our star, but that are at a different point in their life cycle.
Yeah, distant starlight isn't an issue. The speed of light is not constant. We can't measure a specific rate of how long it takes for light to travel. It can change depending on certain environmental factors.
Actually, the speed of light in a vacuum, i.e. space, doesn't change.
The idea of deep time, of this billions of years, explains so much of the world around us. If you try to ignore that, your worldview just becomes crazy. It's just untenable, self-inconsistent.
He asserts here that deep time explains so much of the world around us. Deep time explains nothing, because if you look at the universe, everything is winding down. Earth is slowing down in its rotation. The moon is getting farther away from our planet. The sun is burning down. Our solar system has not existed for millions of years.
Okay, but at the same time, stars are still forming in their billions. Our solar system is still relatively young, and the sun still has billions of years of fuel left.
That is a lie. Deep time does not explain anything.
And I say to the grown-ups, if you want to deny evolution and live in your world that's completely inconsistent with everything we observe in the universe, that's fine. But don't make your kids do it, because we need them. We need scientifically literate voters and taxpayers for the future. We need people that can, we need engineers that can build stuff, solve problems.
Well, that I can agree with.
He agrees we need scientists and engineers. How magnanimous of you, Matt.
We need scientifically literate voters and taxpayers. However, evolution is anti-science propaganda. People really think that we're evolving? Just look at the human genome, what's happening. Look at cancer rates, autism rates, everything that we don't want as far as diseases are increasing worldwide in human populations.
Even if this were true, this does not mean that evolution is not real, does it, Matt?
How does that help the process of evolution to move forward and for us to evolve into stronger organisms? Look at what happened in World War II. You think evolution makes a society better? Makes us more intelligent? The Hitler Youth were being indoctrinated with evolution, and Hitler believed in evolution so much that he started to think that the German race was the most evolved. And in Hitler's own words, he said that his goal was to preserve the most valuable racial elements and elevate them to a dominant position. He believed in survival of the fittest so much, and in Charlie Darwin's false religion so much, that he murdered millions of people.
That is a massive jump to assume that Hitler did these things because he understood that evolution is a thing. His ideologies mean the same thing even if humans were created. You cannot lay that at evolution's door.
And he allowed the medical establishment, a group of evolutionists, to do experiments on the Jewish people. And they would strap men, women, and children down on tables, and they would inject blue dye into their eyes to try to get them to evolve faster. This really happened. Darwinian evolution is dangerous. It asserts that some of us humans are more evolved than other humans.
Now, I think the whole thing tells us that people can be dangerous, not established scientific facts. Dear oh dear, Matt. Why do you even start on that road? It makes no sense in a scientific discussion. And poor old Bill Nye. Well, that about wraps it up for another Tinfoil Tuesday. We're all done and dusted. Let me know in the comments what you think of Matt's arguments there against Bill Nye and whether or not he's correct on his views on evolution. Thanks so much for watching. It truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed it, please do subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button too. We're so close to the 600,000, and as I said, there's going to be a Sunrise to Sunset live stream when we hit that 600,000 subscribers. 30th of October, mark your calendars. Just enough time to once again thank Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Remember, click the link in the description for 4 months extra free. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for another debunking flat earth meme video. See you then.